Tonight we are meditating on the full moon night of Visakha. So it's appropriate to remember the Buddha, our teacher. On that day he had come to the conclusion that he needed to adjust his approach to meditation and to training his mind. He still hadn't fully seen the way to the end of suffering, hadn't had his awakening experience yet. So as he began his evening meditation, sitting under the Bodhi tree, he remembered the time when he was a young boy, sitting under a rose apple tree while his father, the leader of the Sakyans, led the people in what we call the ploughing ceremony at the beginning of the growing season. Being a child, he wasn't that interested in rituals and ceremonies, so he moved away and sat under the tree. And quite naturally, due to his past good karma, he started to meditate, practicing mindfulness of breathing. And he brought his attention to the feeling or the sensation of the in-breath and the out-breath. Sitting quietly in the shade of the tree. And as he focused his mind on the breathing, he let go of all other concerns and worries. He was only a child, so perhaps that was easier for him. But still, he had to concentrate his mind and put effort into watching the breath. And as he did that, he entered the state we call the first jhana, Patama jhana. And there's 5 main factors that he experienced in that state. Vitakka, vichara, piti, sukha, ekaggata. So vitakka is initial application of the mind, so turning the mind to know the breath, keeping the breath in mind. And vichara is sustained application, so keeping it on the breath. And as you begin your meditation, you'll find these are the first 2 things you have to practice. It's one thing to put your mind, your attention on your breathing, but very quickly your mind will wander away. You'll start thinking about tomorrow, the next day, what you did earlier today. Maybe you hear the sound of latecomers coming into the hall and you think about them. Being in the forest, which is unusual for you, you might hear the sounds of animals, the deer, other things. Whatever, you find your mind quickly moves away from the breath, thinking about other things. So your aim is to keep bringing your attention back to the in-breath and the out-breath until it's sustained, until it keeps with the breath, more and more, and wanders off to other things less and less. This is what we call vitaka, vichara. And if you are maintaining vitaka, vichara, then you won't be doubting about what you're doing. If you doubt, your mind might be saying, why am I doing this? Or am I doing it wrong? Or is it worth it? What's the point of this? And so on. And that will stop you putting effort into bringing mindfulness up with the breathing. Or if you're drowsy, sleepy, you can't sustain your attention on the breath either. So this is our first aim in the practice, to bring up vitaka vichara. And you'll notice as vitaka vichara come up, the mind becomes more steady. Even though thoughts and memories pop into the mind, they don't bother you quite so much. So you will begin to relax, physically relax. Get more used to the posture. The Buddha was sitting in full lotus on the night of his enlightenment. If you can't manage that, then you can try half lotus or sit in any way you can, but your aim is to sit still, to let go of the concerns about your body, aches and pains and all those things. So if you keep putting attention on the breath, you begin to relax physically, and then that has a good effect on your mind. So mentally, you start to feel more peaceful as you let go of all the other stuff. Because the breath in its nature is very peaceful. All the normal thoughts and worries you have about work, family, health, money, those are not peaceful. They just tire you out. But when you bring attention to the breath, you gain energy because you're letting go of everything else. You're less distracted. You're relaxing more. Your mind brightens, becomes happier. And this is the principle the Buddha relied on as he trained himself under the Bodhi tree. So if you're more content and happy in yourself, you're willing to let go of other things. As this sense of well-being improves, slowly or quickly, can't always control that, but as it improves, you're willing to let go of other desires, attachments, distractions. Even sleepiness you can let go of as you become more calm, your mind becomes brighter. As the mindfulness comes up, you don't experience so much sleepiness. Or even if you have pain in your body, or you're experiencing some discomfort, so you have a cold or flu, you may have a headache or fever, aches and pains in your body, but the brightness of the mind will help you to know those feelings, but let them go. As you practice more, following in the footsteps of the Buddha, you may experience some rapture. It's the third factor of samadhi, piti. Sense of well-being, joy, happiness. So it's the opposite of boredom. You're not going to be bored when you experience piti. You become more interested or enthusiastic for the meditation. Even if you have obstacles or discomfort, you're willing to continue because you're not bored and you're not caught into any kind of aversion, so irritation, negativity that drops away. And both body and mind experience piti. Your body may feel quite light, relaxed. That helps to cushion any pain or discomfort you're experiencing. And your mind experiences this lightness, becomes brighter, happier. So even if you have negative thoughts arising, memories, distractions, they don't bother you so much. If you keep practicing like the Buddha, then the fourth factor of samadhi is sukha, pleasure, pleasant feeling in body and mind, which allows the mind to become still. As if you're pleasantly involved with your meditation object, even though you have distractions coming up. You hear sounds, you have thoughts popping into your mind. They don't bother you. Because you're content. You're not bored, you're not discontent. You're happy to be with the object, the breath. This happiness stills the mind, quietens the mind. And it allows you to develop one-pointedness, which is the fifth factor of samadhi, eka-kata, singleness of mind or unification of mind. And that's not something you can force. That's not something you can kind of just will into existence. It's a natural result of your efforts to bring up mindfulness directed to the breath. So these different qualities that the Buddha experienced as a child, he then went back and developed the same meditation under the Bodhi tree on the night of his enlightenment. And the center of that is the quality of upekkha, equanimity. You gain evenness of mind with samadhi that allows you to contemplate both pleasant and unpleasant things, contemplate all your different desires and attachments, and really see where the roots of stress and suffering are. Start letting them go, seeing the impermanence of your thoughts and feelings, the changing experience of your body, seeing them as impermanent, conditioned things. So out of that meditation, all the other knowledges and insights the Buddha gained arose. They all came from that same place, the peaceful mind. As we're practicing, of course, there'll be times when you feel more peaceful and times when you may not feel peaceful at all. The aim is to bring up the mindfulness. Just know yourself. Know whether your mind is peaceful, whether it's not, whether there's pain there in the body or there's not, whether you feel tired or you feel energized, whether you feel inspired or uninspired. And we have a range of experiences, all of them we can be mindful of. Mindfulness doesn't judge or choose or make anything out of things. It's this quality of knowing without adding on or creating suffering. So true mindfulness brings with it upekkha, equanimity. It allows you to really understand better suffering, the cause of suffering, experience the cessation of suffering. So for the next period we can practice this together, following in the footsteps of the Buddha, till we hear the sound of the bell.